In 1541, Spanish conquistador Francisco de Orellana set off east from Ecuador to explore new land. His journey quickly took him down the Napo River and straight into the mouth of what would soon be recognized as the second longest river in the world, the Amazon. Located down in the heartland of South America, the Amazon River Basin takes up an area of 2,700,000 square miles, 2,100,000 of which are pure rainforest. The Amazon's environment is dense with trees and wildlife unseen anywhere else on the planet, and the ecosystem isn't just unique, it's also life-giving. Estimations say that 20% of the global supply of oxygen emanates from the rainforest alone. But fast forward less than 500 years since Orellana's conquest, and the Mother Amazon is now facing its most dangerous threat ever: human greed. For decades, multinational corporations have aggressively invested in the rainforest destruction. Today, logging and gold mining operations are responsible for unconscionable deforestation across the Amazon basin. If countries around the world continue funding these businesses and buying their products at the current rate, the rainforest as we know it will be gone inside of a century. Luckily, though, there are more and more people working tirelessly to shift the tide back in the right direction. One of these pro-rainforest crusaders is Paul Rosalie. Originally born a Sicilian kid in Brooklyn, Rosalie dropped out of high school and moved to the Amazon as a teenager. 18 years later, the now world-renowned conservationist remains in the rainforest working to convert loggers and miners into Grade A Team Amazon Rangers. And now, in this mini-doc edited from Julian Dorey podcast number 124, Paul is going to cover 3 subjects. 1. A story that highlights the evil brutality of the mafia-like rackets in the Peruvian Amazon. 2. The disturbing rubber boom of the 20th century and the tyrannical U.S. billionaire villain who tortured Amazon natives into working for him. And 3. The indigenous uncontacted tribes of the Amazon who remain there today, cut off from society and a threat to anyone who crosses their path. So, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and smash that like button on the video for more content just like this. That said, here we go.
This whole story just blows my mind. We're with this gold miner. His name is Borean. Everyone said we were going to get murdered because we were going upriver with gold miners. While we were up there, the Peruvian Navy actually came down in full fatigues, rifles. They blow up this guy's gold mining barge. The explosion was terrifying. There was chunks of metal everywhere. And I said to this guy, I was like, what are you going to do now? He's like wiping his forehead. And he was like, I guess I'm going to go get another motor. And I was like, what if you just did what we've been doing? I was like, why don't you bring people? You live in a beautiful patch of forest. I was like, we could show people this forest. You'd actually earn more money as a conservationist than you would as a gold miner. So he switched. He built a whole lodge with his own 2 hands. We started bringing him people from all over the world and everything was going great. Until the gold miners showed up at 4 a.m. with their rifles, with masks over their faces. They dragged him out of bed. They put him on the floor. They beat the shit out of him. They took his kids out of the house. And they said, with a gun to his head, say goodbye to your father. This is my friend. This is a guy I've worked with for years. And he stood up to the gold miners and now he's got a gun against his head. And so he said, please don't shoot me in front of my kids. Please. So they stand him up, they tie his hands, and they bring him on the boat. He's driving upriver with the gold miners. He's going, I'm gonna die today. How do I get out of this situation? And as they're going upriver, they hear the sound of another thing. They have to start preparing things in the front of the boat to actually try and escape from the Peruvian armed forces that are coming down river for the gold miners. He goes, just untie my hands. He goes, I'll drive the boat for you because we all have to get away. And so this kind of united them for a second. They at least they tied his hands in the front. So now he's driving the boat. He crashed the boat, jumped in the river, floated down river, and then for 3 days survived in the forest with his hands tied. He was scratching him on vines. I get a phone call that this guy's missing, and we had to get support from the U.S. to send a rescue crew up there.
Fuck.
He made it out by the skin of his teeth. He had a rifle against his head. They were ready to kill him because he stood up to the gold miners.
The craziest part about all this, there's a way in conservation, which isn't exactly, a Wall Street high-end executive job. There's a way to pay these people more than they're making in the gold mining because they're trying to subsist and survive and make money.
Yeah.
But those are the people who you're talking about who are doing the potentially killing here. So who's funding them?
In the case of the gold miners, nobody. In the case of the loggers, literally Chinese companies have come into the Amazon and they've given them the heavy machinery that they need to go in and build these roads, to bulldoze trees, and then to extract that timber and take it to Asian ones.
And they're cool with the loggers. Don't ask, don't tell if you're killing fucking people that are getting in their way.
They don't care
They don't care at all.
They don't care at all. They just say, go in there and do it. Now, here's the thing.
How are the gold miners not rich, though, if no one funds them?
Because they're the bottom level. Because it's distributed in the sand. The more you work, the more earth you suck up into that hose, the more you earn as a gold miner. It forces them to work endlessly, day and night. And it's like Blood Diamond. They're just doing it because their family's starving and they have no other option. And then when something threatens that, it's like desperation breeds hostility. What this story taught me was by working with him, this guy was a great guy. He's so much fun. I mean, we bring tourists to see him. You know, he's involved in research now. He's actually an activist against the gold miners because he sees that his life is better now that he's not doing that anymore. And then the repercussions come. And in the Amazon, they are murdering activists. I mean, all over the world, environmental activists. If you stand up to the powers that are sucking these resources, you're standing up to major global forces.